I don't know that she's giving herself the chance to heal. The Victory app shares your activity feed right to your ally's phone. And now your entire church community knows that you just watched Lois get taken to Porktown by Peter Griffin. Today we're gonna go into a deeper topic. We've seen partner shaming. We're all used to the usual partner shaming, like, oh, everybody look at how bad my husband is at laundry. Hey, everybody, look at how my husband doesn't know how to put food away. I think we're used to that. We've seen a lot of that. Today we're going to cover what, in my opinion, falls under the umbrella of partner shaming, but it's like a whole other ballpark. It's something a little bit newer that we haven't fully covered quite so much. It's a much deeper topic. I have been tagged on this profile countless of times by this point. I think it also just started like organically coming up on my For You page, but it's hard to say how that works. So this is a profile called That's Not Love. I think it used to have another name, but now it's That's Not Love. This is an account for addiction and betrayal trauma. Okay, I'm glad that it's not showing up for me here too. I don't know what the emoji is that she's for. It shows up as a question mark on mine too, which like it looks objectively funny. Like I don't know, but definitely anti-corn. And then the Instagram handle is That's an Addiction. So I'm sure you can gather that this is an account that is like we'll just call it corn here on stream as well. In general, as I get used to being on YouTube and stuff, I'm trying to limit my swearing, use alternative words, as my mother always told me growing up. So we'll stick to calling it corn. And this is such an interesting account. I have not been able to make a simple 3-minute video response. I've made a list of particular videos for us to look at first. So I'll show you guys the first video I ever saw of hers. We were love drunk, waiting on a miracle. Since quitting corn, my husband affirms me and validates my feelings, no longer blows up at me or calls me names. Baby's just chilling on the phone. Shows compassion for me and holds places for my emotions. So basically, kind of a testament to their improved situation since he's confronted his addiction to pornography. Before we get into any of that, I can't help, whenever I see a video like this, I can't help but like think analytically about how this was set up. Like, where, she positioned this, like, she took the time to position this angle, right? Unless this is just like a camera that she has set up to ensure that he's not like, God, what's the alternative word I want to use here? Spelunking on the bed. Why is that camera there? And did he know that this was going to be like, how organically was this filmed? Like, is that just there for security reasons? And then she just was like, man, this was a really healthy moment and I just want to like share this? Or was she like, all right, babe, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to set up the camera. Baby can just like do whatever, but I'd like to like see the baby so I know it like doesn't fall in the trash. And then I'm going to lay on the bed and just cry and you hold me. And that'll be great because I'll be able to put like a lot of different like text up on the screen within like the open space. But like make sure, can you actually vacuum really quick before we do this? Like, look, you can see the vacuum line. So like, how staged was this? I don't think that they are making fun content. I think that she has absolutely got one of these set up in every room of the house. She may have issued ultimatums that he needs to accept the camera for her to not leave. I think that you're probably absolutely right about Draco 9 because we'll see a common theme with the rest of her page is that she frequently talks about how when you are addicted to corn or if you have betrayed the relationship by watching corn in the past, that you have lost the right to privacy. You've lost the right to a passcode on your phone, or at least her not knowing the passcode. it's going to be a nuanced conversation here, because in a way, I do see this as partner shaming. I do, because whenever I talk about the issue of partner shaming, the debate is not often whether what the partner did was actually wrong or not. In fact, most often, the one being partner shamed did do something wrong, whether a light offense or a serious offense. But that issue, my argument, is what should be kept private unless the breakup is already happening, unless the divorce is already underway. But if your final end goal is a happy, healthy relationship that you sustain and continue into longevity, then you cannot also partner shame. The question then becomes, do I see corn as a bad thing in relationships? I think that corn addiction is a real thing. I'm so blessed to where I don't think that I've ever experienced being a man with a real corn addiction. That being said, I've been on the outside perimeter of it. I've seen what it looks like, and it's an ugly thing. I had a friend who dated a guy who was so addicted to corn that he literally stopped watching it no matter how inappropriate the time and place was to be watching it. She had caught him watching it next to her mother, like sitting right next to her mother. That's an addiction. That's where your love of the content has gone too far. In this situation, I've analyzed a lot of this creator's content. It does not seem to be a situation where there was ever an affair. There was never an act of physical or emotional cheating with another person outside of the marriage. It was more the addiction to the content. And from what I've heard of a little bit of what she describes, we'll watch a couple more of her videos to get into it. But it sounds like there were negative consequences of the addiction to their marriage. Being, I believe that he just was not being intimate anymore. That's kind of a big issue. And I think that as a lot of men are here in the chat, you would agree that when a partner just abruptly stops being intimate with you with seemingly no explanation for why, that's going to cause you to be insecure. That's going to cause you to question what's happening. Is there infidelity? Like, the anxiety and the problems that cause. It does not appear that there was actual cheating, but she started to piece together, and he admitted, this is my understanding of it, by the way, I could be a little off, that she started to piece together that a lot of the reason for him pulling back and not being intimate was because he was basically like satisfying those needs 6 to 7 times a day through outside sources. And I will say one of the big things that can happen to people who start to get addicted to this stuff is basically like what they need to cross over the finish line starts to get a lot weirder. It starts to get a lot more difficult to actually complete the level. Because if you're just watching this crap all day, it typically starts to escalate. Soon it's not just like, I can't just watch 2 couples at once. I have to watch 4 at once. I have to watch an entire room of people. You know what? It's not enough to be watching an entire room of people going at each other. They also need to be doing so on top of a bear rug. You know what? It can't just be a bear rug. It has to be an actual, like, dead bear in the middle of a Russian icy tundra. Like, it gets weirder. It just keeps getting weirder and weirder until you're just not a normal person anymore. Like, the idea, like, vanilla is, like, worse than a tofu cube to you. So at no point in the stream am I going to try and say, like, oh my god, it's just corn. Why is everyone making such a big deal about it? Like, I don't want to, like, super undermine that, because at the end of the day, everyone is allowed to have their own boundaries and parameters. But I think a lot of guys are being put in these situations where, for the majority of their life, it was just a natural, organic part of it. You know, whenever they have some time, and the next thing you know, this, like, kind of heavy set ultimatums put on them, and most of them are like, well, I'll just do the same thing I did with my mom, where I said I didn't watch it, but I definitely did. And then I just use incognito mode. I think that that's the way most guys handle it, is they put themselves in a position of like, well, she's not going to find out, and it's not really cheating. It's just watching stuff. Like, it's not actually hurting anybody. But at the end of the day, a boundary is a boundary. And whether you agree with it or not doesn't really matter, because you agreed to date this person where you agreed to a boundary. So don't agree to shit if you don't believe in it, quite frankly. Easier said than done sometimes. But I want to get into how this is partner shaming, okay? Because, like I was saying, partner shaming is putting your partner on blast for whatever they did, oftentimes for clout. And we're looking at an account here with, it's growing, obviously monetized. We've gotten millions of likes at this point. We're at 62.3 thousand followers. We're now regularly posting, earning on this. And she's essentially, because her husband's face is on here, by the way. I might have to scroll a little bit, but you can easily, she uses her full name, so you can find them on, I found them on Facebook. There's really no attempts to, like, hide who they are. So now, everyone who knows them, there's a good chance that they are well aware of the fact that this dude just cannot keep his hands out of his pants. He just mad picking corn. He just staying out in the fields, just mercilessly shucking, just for hours a day, shucking corn. She's also framing it as a moral issue with corn, thereby automatically positioning herself as the good person. I think that's also an important thing to say, too, is because as much as I've acknowledged and been very aware of the fact that corn addiction is very real, very damaging, I think that the reason that so many people have such an adverse reaction to people taking the staunch position of all corn is bad is because for most people, it's been a very harmless part of their lives. And for people like Punisher, you know, he was saying that he and his wife send each other videos to get ideas. And quite frankly, that was something that my husband and I did in the beginning of our relationship. We were fairly long distance for about 2 years, and that was something that we did to maintain intimacy, and it was very exciting when we did get to see each other again and try out some different stuff that we had shared with each other. Is it getting hot in here? I gotta roll up my sleeves a little bit. So here were some of the other videos that I picked out to show you guys from this account. So I know I had a lot to say about, like, her positioning of the camera. She does it again. I'm going to turn the volume down for this one.
Fair. That's not fair! That is not fair! 24 is the perfect way!
But we've once again either set up the camera there specifically for the purpose of crying, and, like, this is either very, very weirdly staged, or, again, she has nanny cams in every room of the house. And so this is a video. I understand that it is meant to convey her pain. This is far from the first time people have chosen to create some medium of art to express their sorrow. So this is where I'm kind of like, you know, I actually do have appreciation for the fact that there is a space for people to talk about this kind of stuff. It's just that I can't help but feel like by creating a whole profile for it, by doing things like this of, I don't know if it's recreating the pain. Again, maybe this is a real nanny cam she set up. She just captured the moment, decided to share it. Maybe it hasn't been recreated, but at least by reposting and replaying it and reliving in this pain, like, she's created an atmosphere for herself to just saturate in it. I feel like by even having this account, it's just a constant salt in the wound factory. I don't know that she's giving herself the chance to heal by running this page. And I kind of, it is a pet peeve of mine when women do bring up, like, the very real negative consequences of, like, real porn addiction, not just casual porn watching. And men are like, well, have you tried putting out more? Like, the same with cheating. I hate when people try to narrow it down or, like, minimize it to such a small thing as, like, oh, well, have you tried just sleeping with him more? Maybe you wouldn't cheat if that happened. Like, do you know how many people get cheated on when they are putting out every day of their lives, when they are, like, showering their partner in compliments and doing seemingly everything right? Like, most often people are cheating from a place of insecurity. Corn helped me realize I was bi. Aw. You know, I bet that happens for a lot of people. I mean, like, as a dude, you can only watch so much gay porn before you're like, maybe. Like, you can only accidentally stumble across it so many times before you just gotta sit down and have a long, hard look at yourself. And it's totally cool. Oh no, another 30 minutes of Brandon going to town on 2 other dudes that I accidentally watched this week. Okay, getting back to all this, there was another one that was, like, so salt in the wound. Yeah, this. Remembering every day that you look nothing like the one you fantasized about. By the way, the song choice? She sure does. Every room of the house. We got them nanny cams. And she does a lot of videos like this because one of the big talking points that she goes over is the fact that basically, like, her whole self-confidence has been ruined by this entire experience. And again, I'm having a really hard time finding how in the world making these videos is healing the marriage. I kind of want to see what the comments have to say on this. It's actually so sad how everything they do affects us. Why even be with me? What's the point if I'm not enough to satisfy him? Well, this is another issue with this channel. Is as much as I'm trying to appreciate the importance of having a safe space for women who are enduring this type of addiction and betrayal trauma, unfortunately, this platform is not the place to do it. I think that a private, in-person group therapy would be monumentally beneficial to these women. If they got a chance to, like, really talk about these types of things together and kind of open up about how much it hurts, it would be really helpful. But on this platform, all it's doing is creating this echo chamber of blame, resentment, and honestly just the spread of bad societal concepts, right? The idea that, for example, the idea that one person should be enough to satisfy a person. And I understand that a lot of this is just they want to get it off their chest. They just want to say how they feel out loud. It doesn't necessarily mean that they firmly believe in every way that one person should be enough to satisfy every part of a person. The issue with this platform is that no one's going to correct them like a therapist would. A therapist would use an opportunity like that during a session when hearing someone saying out loud, like, I should be enough to satisfy him. The therapist would go, like, I absolutely understand that pain, that frustration, everything you're going through. At the same time, You need to take ownership and responsibility of understanding that you will never be able to satisfy everything in a person and let go of that being your job. But no one's saying that to these people. The handsomest boy is here. Most people make their entire TikTok page, if they're going to have a niche and it's not just like random uploads about their lives, which tend to not get traction. But most people have like a focal point, something that makes them like really come alive. Like my husband's, for example, his whole channel is about fantasy, tabletop RPGs, Dungeons and Dragons, tabletop gaming, like, and that's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's what makes him come alive. It's what gives him a drive to wake up every morning, create, put food in his body, and, you know, get moving so that he can go in this direction of this thing that makes him who he is, this special, amazing person who cares about story writing and creating. Her whole personality that we're able to see is, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, and now I am a professional griever of my own marriage. How long does this account go for? How long does it last? What happens to their marriage, like, after the addiction has been won? Like, what were their real goals before this happened? Does she have sink cup merch? What do you guys think? Do you consider this partner shaming? I don't think that having an entire platform talking about it while actively in the process of trying to heal your marriage is conducive to the therapy. It sounds like they are in therapy and they have some kind of a treatment plan. At least I hope to God. Could you imagine if there was truly no professionals involved here and it was just her, like, giving him a treatment plan? That also would not surprise me. What do you think is in the link tree? Open anyway. It's fine. Okay, so she's doing one-on-one chats.
Ching.
So this is what's making me also think that they're probably not seeing professionals. Instead of going to professionals to work professionally on this marriage, she's decided, actually, as a victim, I'm the professional. Okay, you know what? I guess I'm not that surprised. And that can't help him in his recovery either. It's not just enough that he did this shitty thing that hurt your marriage and you have to work on it. You're also going to metaphorically make him walk naked through the city as everyone goes shame on you. I really hope that this guy is actually getting therapy, because there's no way that if he, like, and I mean like individual therapy, not like with her, making sure that every time he tries to tell his side of it, she gets to jump in and go, well, actually don't leave out or like, you know, actually it was more like this. He needs to be actually talking to someone on his own. I don't know, man, but this kind of stuff is really common. Have you guys heard of Covenant Eyes? I hope their website is still as funny as I remember it being. So what this app does, let's look at it together. Struggling to quit watching corn? You're not alone. Covenant Eyes helps you live corn-free with confidence. What if I got sponsored by Covenant Eyes? Wouldn't that be so funny? I would definitely, ironically, take a Covenant Eyes sponsorship. Why am I here? I'm a man who wants to quit corn, or I'm a woman who wants to quit corn. Oh yeah, that's common. I want to help my spouse live corn-free. I want to help my friend live corn-free. Why are you getting in your friend's business? Defeat corn together. Covenant Eyes is designed to help you and those you love live free from pornography. The Covenant Eyes app tracks activity on your devices. The Victory app shares your activity feed right to your ally's phone. That's right. When you download Covenant Eyes, if you try to take an old looky-loo at some spicy content, it is going to be directly streamlined right to not only your spouse, but you can set up like I think an up to 10-person list of all of the people who will immediately see what you are looking at. They won't just know, oh, Trevor's watching something inappropriate. They're going to know Trevor is watching. I always want to like just go off, and then I have to remember like I could get banned on these apps. Trevor's watching bears, and so the way that I've seen this is it'll be set up with like an entire Bible group or like an entire church group. I was an ally for a while. So glad to be out of that crazy. You get a notification telling you search queries and app usage. Dude, no. That's gotta be so awful, especially if you don't know that it's on your device. Life-changing conversations. Through meaningful conversations, your allies will be there to pick you up when you fall down and cheer you on when you succeed. Is that what you did? Would you like text your ally and be like, congrats on not fapping today? Dude, Susie, I think it's been like 17 days since you flicked the bean. You keep killing it. Break bad habits for good. With the help of your allies, you can soar to new heights, both online and offline. And say goodbye to corn forever. Easy to install, unlimited devices and up to 10 users. Yep, I was right. Up to 10 allies can be selected to see every dirty, disgusting thing that you look at. Well, I hope we've all learned something. I hope we've all learned many things.